Welcome back to your video tutorials. Today is day 18.1. We're gonna be getting into the pivot table and slicers. Okay, let me snap this window to the side, open my Excel student files, and we're gonna be using Unity. There's EXD6, okay, and then we're gonna be using the save as command and save this as a pivot table and slicers. So file, save as, under my computer. Then I'm going to be looking at Excel 2013 files. That will be started on April 17. There's a name and the date. Save as type, we don't change it, and we just click on save. Okay, now let me just go ahead and resize my columns here. And here we are. Okay, pivot tables. What is a pivot table? Basically, a pivot table, what it is gonna convert our table, and the pivot table is gonna allow us to filter the data. Okay, this is a small table here, or not a small table, but this is a small spreadsheet here. Okay, but when we come into C2C, bigger and bigger spreadsheets, pivot table is going to be very useful. Okay, now the pivot table, see, when we go to insert, we're going to see right here pivot table and recommended. Okay, if you guys keep looking into the right hand side here, we have the slicers. Right now, when I click on the slicers, it's just giving me this connection in this workbook, no connections found, no connections found. Okay, in order for us to be able to use the slicers, okay, which I really like to use the slicers because it will display the data that we only want to see, and it's very useful. Okay, now in order for us to be able to apply the slicers, first of all we need to convert our table into our spreadsheet into a pivot table. Okay, now when I click into pivot table, create a pivot table window opens. So basically it's asking me, okay, where's your table range? So if I bring my pointer and I click into A3, I hold it and drag it over into all the data that we have here, okay, that information is just going to be inputted up here. Okay, now in this case, okay, we have one step, and then the second step says here, choose where you want the pivot table report to be placed. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to say, okay, I want to see the pivot table. Okay, hold on. I'm going to select this option, see existing worksheet. I'm going to click into it. I'm going to delete that. And then I'm just going to click where I want to have the pivot table. Okay, so the location is going to be under sheet 1, A13. Okay, now I'm going to click on OK. This command requires always two rows of source data. You cannot use a command or select on a selection in only one row. Okay, perfect. So we're going to click on OK. And let me see, I'm going to go ahead and click right here into this little guy right here. See, we got two options here. What it's gonna do is just gonna minimize that window, and then I'm gonna click right here where I wanna have, okay, where I wanna have the pivot table. I'm gonna expand this and click on OK. It's not giving me. Okay, so this is what I'm gonna have to do. I'm gonna delete the contents here. Okay, resize that, and then I'm gonna be selecting where I want my pivot table. Okay, again, it's giving me the same error. Okay, so this is what we're gonna do. Okay, I'm gonna have to put them right here into spreadsheet number 2. When I click into that, this is empty. Okay, so we're gonna do the following. See, I'm gonna click on, I'm sorry, existing worksheet. I'm gonna click right here into this little window to close that. I'm gonna click on sheet number 2, and then I'm gonna select A1. Okay, I'm gonna expand this little window, and then we're gonna click on OK. Data source reference not valid. Okay, so this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna cancel. Okay, so what's going on here? Okay, let's go ahead and do it down a different way. I'm gonna select the data that I wanna use, and then I'm gonna click on pivot table. Okay, so here's the table range. Now I'm gonna say that I want this into existing worksheet. I'm gonna click right here, and then I'm gonna click where I want my pivot table, and then click on OK. Already. So there was a little clinch. Okay, there was a little clinch. That's why it wasn't giving me the pivot table. Okay. Now when we insert the pivot table, see we are gonna have this little window right here. Okay, and we're also gonna have the fields, the pivot table field right here on the right hand side. As you guys can see, we had quarter 1, 2, 3, 4, and totals. Okay, so here's my quarters and my totals. Okay, now what that pivot table is gonna do? When we click right here into quarter 1, see, quarter 1 is just gonna be added right here, and it's also gonna be added into, see, into this area values. Okay, now I'm gonna click on quarter 2. You guys are gonna see there, it's quarter 2, and it's also going into values. Okay, we click on 3, on 4, and then I'm also gonna be including the total. Okay, now you guys are probably gonna say, okay, but that's exactly the same table. Yeah, it's exactly the same table, but what this is gonna do, remember the tables. Okay, so the pivot table, what it's gonna do is gonna allow me also to filter, see, some information here. Maybe we only want to see those 3 different numbers. Click on OK, and there's the information. Okay, so row labels, there's a row labels, 78950 belongs to project 1, etc, etc. Okay, and now we have this little filter. When we click into that, maybe we want to display all the items, and click on OK, and everything's going to be displayed again. Okay, now the field is not there anymore. When we come back and click into one of the cells, the pivot table fields is going to reappear again. Okay, now in this case, see, we don't have projects, right? Even though that we select them, we don't have the projects. Okay, now that is the pivot table. Okay, now that we have the pivot table, if we come back to insert, see, we will be able to use the slicers. Okay, and this is really what I really like. Okay, unfortunately, in order for us to insert the slicers, see, we have to convert this to a pivot table. We gotta have a pivot table. Okay, in order for us to insert the slicers. Okay, now the slicers, I'm just gonna click into quarter 1, 2, 3, 4, and total. Okay, now when we click on OK, we're gonna have these little small windows that I'm just gonna left click into the title bar. It's just like any other window, and then I'm gonna be dragging them around and put them in place. Okay, just for now, I'm gonna go ahead and hide I'm gonna hide the ribbon and tabs. Okay, so there, that was the raw data. We select the raw data, and then we insert a pivot table. What the pivot table is gonna do, the pivot table, what it's gonna do is gonna allow me to see here this pivot table on which we will be able to filter our data. Now, after that, see, we insert the slicers. So in order for us to be able to use the slicers, okay, we have to convert our raw raw data into a pivot table. Okay, anytime that you guys click into an empty cell, the pivot table fields is gonna disappear. One more click and it's gonna reappear. Okay, now here's the slicers. The slicers are very easy to use. Also that we only wanna display the 26,000 data. See, when I click into that, see, that's for quarter one and quarter two. See, it's displaying only the number that belongs to project number 2. Okay, and we can also select multiple data by holding down control. If we hold down control and we click into another total, see, this is only 1, 2, and 3. Those 3 are only the ones that are going to be displayed, and it's going to give us the sum of quarter 1, 2, 3, and 4, etc. Okay, so it's just to filter the data. Okay, and now we could click into any cell, and the numbers that are highlighted belongs only to that particular quarter 3 31,000, which is going to be project 3. Okay, and to remove the filter, we come right here and we click into this little X, and the filter is going to be removed. All the data has been displayed, and there's our pivot table. Okay, now right here I'm gonna do another one. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and highlight my raw data. Okay, I'm gonna bring my pointer. Let's see. Let me go ahead and bring back my tabs and ribbon. Okay. Now from here, see, we're gonna copy this data. We're gonna go into number 2, and then we're gonna paste it. Okay. Again, I'm gonna have to resize those columns. Okay. Now I'm gonna come back to 1. Remember that if we double click into that particular worksheet, use this backspace to delete the name. Okay, and then we are gonna rename this one. Okay, so that was my pivot table and slicers. And we hit enter. Okay, now I'm gonna go to number 2. Okay, number 2, we're gonna double click into worksheet number 2. We're gonna delete the name, and this is gonna be table and slicers. Okay, so this time we're gonna do this a little bit different. I'm gonna be selecting normal data. Okay, now let's say that we wanna go to insert, and let's check the recommended pivot tables. Okay, we can recommend any pivot tables. Okay, I'm gonna click on cancel. Okay, so I'm gonna click on pivot table. Okay, as you guys can see, the table range is on table and slicers. That's the worksheet, and it's on B3. Okay, through F10. Now, as you guys can see, it's not including project 1, 2, 3, and 4 like on the other one. So, what I'm gonna have to do here? Okay, let me go ahead and resize, by clicking into this little icon. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and delete the contents here, and then I'm gonna select my range that I want to use. Okay, now let's see. I'm gonna expand this little window. I'm gonna tell them that I want this into the existing worksheet. Okay, I'm gonna click into this little guy to collapse the window. I'm gonna select the area, click into that same icon to expand the window, and click on OK. Alrighty, as you guys can see, it's giving us the same error, okay, from before. Now the error is because we don't have any data here, and we don't have any data under F10. Okay, so we're gonna click on cancel, and we're definitely gonna have to add another item here. Okay, now right here we're just gonna say, okay, quarters. Okay, back to home to remove the underline. Okay, and right here, this is gonna go ahead and get the total. It could be by the column or it could be by row. It's gonna be give us the same. There you go. Okay, now we are gonna reselect the data. Okay, come back to insert. Here's the recommended pivot tables. It's not giving us a recommendation. So we come back to pivot table. And as you guys can see now, the wavy lines are going. See, are including project 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6. Okay, now just keep that in mind. Okay, if you guys have a table, and this is very common, okay, that on this cell, see, we don't include anything. Okay, if we don't include anything, and we try to convert this into a pivot table, Excel automatically is just gonna jump into the next row. Okay, now that we have the information, okay, the range that we're gonna be using, again, I'm gonna select existing worksheet. I'm gonna click right here into this little box to have the insertion point. Okay, now from here I'm just gonna go directly and click into where I wanna have my pivot table. And then see, we have the data here, the location T1 slicers 813. That's a worksheet and 813. Now we click on OK. Okay, now right here we have quarters. When we click on quarters, see we have project 1, 2, 3, and 4, 6, etc. So as you guys can see, it's gonna be a little bit different than the other one because the other one it didn't give us the project. Okay, now I'm gonna come back here. Okay, and I'm just gonna be adding quarter 1, 2, 3, 4, and totals. And again, yes, progress. Okay, but it's exactly the same table, yeah. But in this case here, we could also play with this. We could move any information into a different field. For example, see quarter 1, I just drag this into filters. Now quarter 1 is up here. So from here, I could just go ahead and, if I want to display everything, I select multiple items and click on OK. Okay, or maybe for quarter 1, I only want to see those two numbers. Okay, and those two numbers belong to projects 4 and 5. So it makes a little bit more sense, right? 4 and 5. Okay, now the filter is just gonna be right here, multiple items, quarter 1. We click into that. We wanna display all the data, and there we go. Okay, so we move quarter 1 into filters. We don't have it here, and we can always bring it back into the values. Okay, and again, we can also display if, how about in this case, we say, okay, we only want to see the data for project 4 and project 6, and okay. And there it is. See, it's only the data for project 4 and project 6. Okay, so this is a dynamic, okay, spreadsheet or tables, because whatever we select is the only items that are gonna be displayed. Okay, now right here we have the little filter. We can click into the filter. I'm gonna say no, I wanna display everything. And click on OK. Everything's gonna be displayed. Okay, now just like we did it before, if we come back to slicers and say, hey, I wanna apply a slicer. Okay, but remember, in order for us to be able to apply the slicers, okay, we must convert our data into a pivot table or into a table. Okay, so we have quarter. Okay, in this case, quarter, we only add quarter because we want to be included in the project, right? So I'm not gonna be including the quarter, just 1, 2, 3, 4 and totals. When we click on OK, Here's my quarters 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. Anytime that you guys want to see the fill list, okay, click into your pivot table. Okay. Now you guys can see we have quarter 2 and quarter 1. So I'm gonna have to come over here, quarter 1, left click, hold it, and just drag it down. Okay, now we have, let me see, quarter 3. I'm gonna have to move quarter 3 down. We have 1. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna remove them. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Now it doesn't matter that we remove. Okay, the pivot table films. See, the slicer is just gonna continue being there. Okay. Now I'm gonna click on 1, 2, 3, 4. Sometimes it's gonna be easier to remove him and then re-add him, because we drag one of these little guys. We drag one of these corners, and then we bring it back, but it was in a different place. So just to get it back in order, I remove the check mark and then reapply them all. Okay, so here's the slicers. When we click into one of them, see, into the pivot table is just gonna be displaying project 6. That belongs to project 6. Okay, if we wanna apply multiple, or show multiple items, I'm gonna have to do that on the same one. Okay, click into another one, click into another. So I'm displaying 3. Okay, now let's say that I'm also gonna display this one. Okay, 21,900, 26,000, 27,000. Okay, so that's the data that is gonna be displayed. Okay, to remove the filter, we click right here, and then we click over here to remove the filter. Okay, so if I want to display one or the other, adjust the total. Okay, it's just gonna display the totals for 1, 2, 3, and 4, just like it's doing it right here into the slicers. Okay, if I want to display, remove that, I'm gonna click into another one, hold down Control, and display, project 1, 2, and 5. Okay, a lot of times we use this dynamic, okay, pivot table or slicers just to see the data, to display the data that we want to see. This is a small table, but it's a great introduction into pivot tables and slicers. Okay, now again, see this one right here. Once we rename something, we can always go back and rename it. Okay, so again, I'm gonna call this pivot table and slicer. Now, what's gonna happen? We can have into one book. We can have 2 spreadsheets with the same name. Okay, so this is gonna be 2. So it's gonna be pivot table and slicers. 2. Enter. Okay, if you guys click into any empty cell, remember that if you guys want to display your pivot table fields, we click into the pivot table under the pivot table fields. If by any chance you guys click into this X, okay, it doesn't matter how many times you guys click into the pivot table, the pivot table fields is not gonna come back. Okay, but let's go ahead and look up here to right above the ribbon. We have the pivot table tools, analyze, and design. Okay, now under analyze, see we have the field list. We click, and there it goes, it's back. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and remove the filters, and there we are. Okay, now this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do one more. Okay, but this time I'm not gonna convert the table, my spreadsheet into a pivot table. Okay, we're just gonna convert it into a table. Okay, so again, I'm gonna select the data that I need. I'm gonna use the copy command, moving to the next worksheet, paste it, and then again, if I don't wanna resize this, okay, I'm gonna bring my pointer, see, and I'm gonna be selecting keep source column width. Perfect, so I don't have to resize everything. Okay, now right here we're only gonna be selecting the data that we need, and this time, let's say that we wanna use a slicer. So if we go to insert slicers, so it's gonna give me this error. Now from here I say, okay, no, let's go ahead and convert this into a table. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and convert this into a table. This little window opens up asking me, okay, where's your range? Because we already selected the range. See, and make sure that we say my table has headers, and then we click on OK. There we go. Okay, now I'm just gonna highlight the data and make sure that all my tables are gonna be visible. Okay, so there we are. Now that we convert my spreadsheet into a table, if we come back to insert, use the slicers, and this slicer is gonna allow me to apply see 1, 2, 3, and 4, etc. and total. And we'll click on OK. There's my slicers. Order for 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, and again, if we only want to display the data for project 3, okay, into the table, there's only table 3, and quarter 1, see, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4, and totals, that's the only data that is being displayed. If I want to also compare project 6, I'm going to hold down control and click on project 6. Now project 3 and 6, that's the only ones that are going to be displayed. Okay, if I want to remove the filter, I click into the little X. Now, how about if we come up here and say, okay, I don't want to display everything, I only want to display 1, 2, and 3 different numbers. See, exactly the same thing is going to happen into the slicers. Okay, so a lot of people prefers to look into this information, okay, on a table, or maybe using the slicers. Some other people will prefer to use a pivot table. Okay, I'm gonna come back to 3. I'm gonna double click on worksheet number 3, and this is gonna be table. No format, table, and slicers. Enter. Okay, and here's a little filter. When we click into that, we confirm the filter. Okay, if we only want to see, okay, who got the total, the smallest total. Okay, that was project 4. Okay, so based on this information, companies will make decisions. Okay, on this one, see, that's one of the best. That's project 6. And this is what is being produced in quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, and quarter 4. So from here we could say, okay, what's happened on quarter 1? We need to check what's going on here. Maybe there's something wrong because we could probably be making more money as the others. Okay, so basically this information, okay, companies will use it to take or make decisions. Okay, make sure that you guys click on OK. So we have the pivot table and slicers, pivot table and slicers too. Okay, and then we have the format, table, and slicers. Okay, make sure that you guys click on OK and save. Okay, and close the spreadsheet. And that was the introduction, pivot tables, and slicers. Thank you for watching, and you guys have a great day. Until the next video tutorial. Bye bye.